welcome. Thank you very much. And lastly, I'd like to welcome one thing that Manchester United needs the most. It's a coach. So I'd like to welcome Coach Fuyanzi. Okay. All right. This particular moment, let's have Intercity Secure Homes Limited to give a short presentation of what they do. The floor is yours. At the center, please.
Hello,
Karibu sana.
everyone. I'm so happy to be here with all of you. Intercity is one of the partners of this event today. I'm the marketing manager of Intercity Secure Homes Limited. We are a company based in all the counties in Kenya. We deal with security products and services. We offer intelligent security solutions, consultancy, and training. So we are happy to partner with Grace today, and we hope you enjoy this event. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You've realized the way a lot of things these days are intelligent. Yeah. And that shows you where the world is going. Yeah. We're talking about AI. AI powered homes. These days, people are saying, Siri, play for me. I mean, it's no longer a secret. It's not a Siri anymore, which songs you can play. But with that said, for our panel discussion, once again, for the 150th time, I'd like to welcome Grace Nzula, who's been very active, but now she takes us through the panel, and later on we'll be open for question and answer session, which I believe and I hope that we will participate and get the most from our speakers. So at this particular moment, Grace Nzula, karibu sana. God, mpigeni makofi akikuja mpaka aketi. She's been doing an incredible job. The floor is yours. Mpigeni makofi. Let's continue. Let's appreciate her till she settles down. She hasn't settled yet. Okay? She hasn't. Yeah, she's taking her time. That's what we do. Take your time. We manage our time well. So, Grace, you're now comfortable? Or we can do round two, you know? No, the floor is yours.
I am your moderator of choice. HR, habari zenu? We're in the room, sindio? Yes, Grace Nzula, moderator of choice. I am wearing that cap. Earlier on, I was wearing lead consultant at Atarah Solutions and manager Panessa Training Institute. So, right, we are going to take the shortest time possible to learn. We have wonderful speakers. You guys actually said these are the top speakers you'd want to see come back. Some of them were voted more than 10 times. So that is why we brought them to you live so that you can pick their brains. So we are going to, Kevin, you ready with the sanitizer and the mics? All right. So we're going to just ask them. Noah did the job of mentioning their names. I have introduced them on the Get It Right with Atarah Solutions Tuesday programs, but today I want them to introduce themselves. So, and I know today I called Mr. Engineer James Mwangi Mr. and he reminded me that I am Engineer James Mwangi. And he wears that cap with pride. So, moderator of choice hapo pia. Right, so I am going to just start with Jane. Jane, you can introduce yourself just briefly.
Good evening. My name is Jane Mtisia. I'm a certified professional coach and the MD for Career Management Center. And our specialty is to help professionals to thrive in what they do, to manage their careers properly. At the same time, we work with organizations to ensure they are managing the most important asset, people, very well, regardless of their size. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jane. Up next is Fuyanzi.
Greetings, everyone. Am I talking? No, I'm not. Thank you. Greetings, everyone. Oh, that was bad. Greetings, everyone. Okay, I am Fuyanzi, also known as Coach Fuyanzi. I am a public speaking coach, a certified life, executive, and career coach, certified law of attraction coach as well. And these days I have shifted. Yes, I have. Pun totally intended. I have shifted into helping executives, solopreneurs, and coaches to speak with confidence and clarity to get the results that they want. So I am so happy to be here. Thank you, Grace.
Thank you so much, Coach Fuyanzi. Up next is James.
Good evening. My name is James Mwangi. I must start with a confession that I have no banking skills of any magnitude, but I do make regular deposits and withdrawals. And many a times the withdrawals are more than the deposits. I'm an engineer by training, and 20 years ago I decided to plunge into the world of entrepreneurship or self-employment. Sometimes there's a very thin line between the two. And the reason I did that was because I saw the ground shifting. The industry that I was working in, and mainly the organization that I worked for, decided that some skills are better outsourced. And I decided to make their job easy by crossing to the other side so that they could outsource to me. But I think the most important experience is that I was now totally responsible for my life. And the decisions, I decided to do what I wanted, including deciding who to work for. It should not be taken for granted that all the work that comes away along your way, you will take. And there are reasons for that. Key amongst them, issues to do with integrity. It is during that time that I also found a passion for advocacy, where conversations are being held in whatever level of society. And because of that, I have plunged into the area of organizations that can help me to push an agenda, and especially an agenda for Africans and Kenyans. And thank you very much, Grace, for the invitation. Thank you.
Thank you very much for honoring the invitation. Up next is Joram.
Going last in such a panel is just such a hard job because everyone here is so amazing. I'm Joram Winamo. I think interacted with many of you in different forums, but I'm that guy who's never believed that Africans are inferior to the East or the West. And my job is really to help African businesses go global. And try and, so, we are at the forefront of doing that as Sandbox ourselves. We have a unique idea and basically have brought together different skill sets that help your business, get the acceleration it requires at a rate that you can afford. And yeah, so it's been a very exciting time. Sandbox has been running throughout COVID and just helping businesses during that time, which just being at the center of seeing what entrepreneurs do. I always say that when I look at politics in this country, I get very depressed. But when I look at entrepreneurs, I get a lot of hope because they are the ones who really keep things going, and they are going to survive and thrive in spite of who's in government. I know Kenyan entrepreneurs are going to take us global no matter what. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. So allow me to just jump onto the discussion of the day. Our theme was the ground has shifted, have you? And this panel is going to help us align to win. What does this take is what they're going to define for us. So, and I'm going to just start off with Jane. Jane has said she's an HR consultant. She's also a career coach. Jane, in your understanding about people and HR positioning, what has really shifted in our workplaces and our organization and its people aligned?
Thank you for the question, Grace. And let me just say, for me, in terms of shifting, it has always happened. I don't think it's something that is current. It's as old as history itself. And I'll just give an example. I don't know how many of us in this room own a donkey. Anybody who owns a donkey? In the 1900s, it was the most important animal. Almost every household had a donkey. Almost everybody. It was actually a sign of wealth. People would own like 5. Some people here have never seen. Those who have never seen a donkey, I'm sure they're there. So that animal that was very, very, very important is no longer that important. In the real sense, we should be having a moment of silence for the donkey in Kenya. True? And that is a shift. So the word shifting, things shifting is as old as history itself. And I'm going to quote Charles Darwin, who said, change is constant. He went on further to say, those who survive are those who change with, not necessarily the most intelligent. So shifting is nothing to do with your cognitive, it's nothing to do with the intelligence, it's all about how do you adapt. Just to talk about what is currently happening, it cannot even be given to one because there are very many industries that we can actually talk about that have very different changes. And I know sometimes when we talk about alignment, we think about technology, but that is not the only shift that is happening. It could be what is happening that we are all seeing and people are talking about artificial intelligence and robots and things to do with that. But in the real sense, so much is changing that you have to actually be very industry specific to know what is changing in your organization. Speaking for the recruiters and for those who are looking for jobs, a lot has happened. From us applying for jobs in post office, for those of us who are old, to coming to emails, and now we are now applying for jobs online, true? And guess what? When we move from post office to applying online, some guys could still not apply for jobs online, as in, I mean in terms of email, for years. They still had to depend on the cyber cafe guy, who is most likely less educated than them, to apply that particular application. And therefore, from HR desk, we got emails that did not have attachments. We got emails that had the wrong attachments because they did not learn to shift, because most of the time it's a very small thing that you just need to create your time and learn that particular skill. So even for now, it's about being industry specific and learning exactly what you have to do. We are now moving from emails. Just when your people are starting to know how to attach documents, we are now in the different thing about application. Even interviews. We are doing interviews through videos. A friend of mine was being interviewed for a job in Korea last week, and they had a video. Like you talk to a screen, it gives you a question and timing, you give the answer, you move to the next question, and only maybe the last 2 will meet a human panel. But away from technology, so much is shifting. So much is shifting. So just be alert and keep checking what exactly is changing, even away from just technology. Thank you, Grace.
Jane, just to probably ask you, we have seen the adoption leave as a change in legislation. And because employers are here, are we ready to actually, I know we are Africans, we don't recognize LGBT, but yet they'll come and tell us that they want adoption leave. My husband has adopted a child, and this is a man saying. Are organizations in Kenya ready for that?
I will not talk about the LGBT because it's still not legal in Kenya. So for Kenya, until that becomes legal, I guess they still have to be discriminated on that until it becomes legal. But in terms of adoptive leave, when it's low, it's low. You don't comply, it's very expensive. Non-compliance at any one time is very expensive. So again, you have to be ensured that you actually align with the changes that are happening. And sometimes they don't give you notice. And a good example is when the plastics were going. You can imagine how many companies were depending on the plastics, the paper bags, and all those things. And you woke up one night and guys were struggling. Giving Setekanjo work of having to chase you not to use papers and all that. Things changed overnight. So sometimes you won't give that notice, and the faster you adapt whatever that it is, the easier for you. In terms of inclusivity, if it is low, we have no option. Yeah.
Thank you, Jane. I know this is a conversation we can have for a while. So moving on to James, Kevin, because we have both employees and employers here, so we are mixing it up. James, you have over that 5 years experience as an employee and businessman. By the way, James sits at the CAPSA board. So all of you who have issues with private sector not being included, Muone James Kando. He also sits at the FIDIC board. FIDIC is the international, he'll tell us what FIDIC is. James, over 35 years experience as an employee and businessman, also a leader in the society. What, in your opinion, has really shifted, or is this a facade? Are there lessons we can borrow in the days to come?
Thank you, Grace. Change has always been there, as has been mentioned before. I think many a times change comes and we do not see it before it hits us. COVID just happened to be one of those changes that obviously we could not see, but many other changes that come, and I like what you mentioned, Jane, plastics. These conversations are actually being held many a times by governments and other private sector players. They are being put into legislation. This country is blessed by having a constitution that allows you to participate through what we call public stakeholder consultation. But we don't. We don't read newspapers. We don't read notices of Parliament telling you that there is an issue. Could you submit your inputs or your feelings, whatever it is, or preferences? And so we wait until it is in law, then we complain, and by that time it is too late. COVID came. For us in the engineering space, we are used to the physical world. We deal with assets. And all of a sudden you find you can't go to this particular asset or construction. We used to design through discussions which were physical. And all of a sudden, there was a complete stop. There was no notice, like saying, we have 1 week to sort yourself out. The lockdown came and we had to lock down. But you know, the stomach doesn't understand lockdown. It knows that at a certain time of the day, it has to receive something. And in the absence of which, it will release certain fluids that make you uncomfortable and make you want to look for something for those fluids to chew on. It took a lot of hard thinking, because at the end of the day, you have to maintain infrastructure. You have to build infrastructure, complete what you have. But I saw the power of technology, that you can have meetings remotely, that you can get data from the site remotely. For those in the civil engineering world, they use drones. And you know what is incredible is that these drones, they don't lie. If they are calibrated well, they are accurate. And they don't take time. They don't need bus fare. They don't need allowances. So what has happened is that one of my clients, actually, he registered a very high profit last year. And the employees got a bonus they have never seen on account of COVID. So what we have seen is that we are now working better. We are working smarter. We are more efficient. And also, on the medical side, I think the health of people was such that for the first time, even if you felt a pain, you really had to think extremely hard before going to see a doctor. And I know my doctor friend told me that they were more or less free. They didn't have patients. The wards didn't have patients. And it is sad, because to them, business, biashara ni mbaya. But I think we learned something. So Grace, in a nutshell, we learned to adopt. People started seeking new solutions, new ways of designing. But I would like to end with one thing, because I'm in the engineering space. You mentioned something, Mr. Panessa, about smart homes. The homes of tomorrow are going to be totally different. And the group that I sat here with earlier, I did allude to the fact that in one of the conferences I attended, the concept of ownership of infrastructure or assets is actually going to be overtaken by events. We shall be leasing houses. You shall be leasing cars. You won't need to own them. And I don't know what it will be looking like. I don't think I'll be there, because I still like to own a house and what have you. And I still like driving a petrol-driven car. I like the sound of it. But I think we are being prepared for a new world. And I'm actually glad that Kenyans actually came out. If you look at the economy, strangely enough, there are positive figures that are being registered, and that's a very good thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, James. One of my brothers is actually here. He's a doctor. He can tell us more about the suffering last year. If you're looking for a gynecologist, ladies, see me privately. He's actually here. Yes, this is a networking event, isn't it? Yeah, yes. So if my brother is a gynecologist, mnataka tukulange nini? Hey. Anyway, over to you, Joram. You have helped a number of SMEs develop strategies that have seen them win. What are some of the statistics that we have seen in the recent past that supports these shifts? Is it sector specific or is it for everyone?
Yeah, so I think the shift that COVID took us through affected certain industries more than others. So if you looked at the side of travel, hospitality, air travel industry, and logistics, some of those industries completely ground to a halt. In these industries, we had, businesses going down to register all the way to, like zero sales, having to completely halt operations, put things on hold. And this happened for a period of about 6 to 9 months. I think we forget very quickly, but if you remember back to March last year, first it started with Africans are not getting COVID. You remember? Because we're just seeing cases all over the world and you're not seeing any cases in Africa. So we are like, are we immune or we don't know? And then the first cases, showed up via some, people who came into the country. And then, the cases started taking off. And then we had a lockdown and we didn't know how long this was going to take. So there was a lot of uncertainty the first 3 months and everyone was confused, didn't know what to do. But on the flip side, while we had some industries that were really suffering, others, like local manufacturing, really took off. People who were in the manufacture of personal protective equipment, health supplies, logistics. I'm sure all of you know, people who own motorbikes that were completely swamped doing deliveries. E-commerce grew. People were not ready for IT at home. So they had to make connections and buy equipment and the like. So the businesses that were on that side saw a boom. I have somebody who went from doing maybe $1 million worth of business to 2.5 just because of the COVID situation. So what we always say is that there's always winners and losers in every crisis or pandemic. And this particular one, like I mentioned, the industries that were losers and those that were winners. But what we saw across the board is that the ability of people to adapt was quite fast. We did several surveys with business people, I think every 3 months during COVID. And first, what you saw is that for the industries that were suffering, people had the income go all the way down to like 20%. People had to restructure. People didn't know what to do with their staff, whether they can use force majeure to terminate contracts. We had people letting go of their office space and these kinds of things. So there were a lot of shifts that happened very quickly. And what we noted is that in a 6 months period, it's like people had adapted very quickly to the new way of doing things. Whether it was working from home, they already adapted to that. Whether it was adopting technology, they already did that. So save for people who maybe, we were really advising people at that time that, yes, while we are working from home, try and not isolate yourself. Because it's in isolation that people would think that things are not working out. But we would encourage people that even if it was digitally connecting with other people and just learning what other communities are doing, there was still quite a lot of opportunities. I think I was telling some people at the back that disposable income for those who are still employed actually went up. People were not paying fare to go to the office, so they had more money when they were at home. And I think people in the food industry saw an increase because people are staying at home and they were eating a lot. They usually eat a lot more at home than they do when they're in the office. I think how tight our clothes are is evidence of that process. So it all depended on whether during that time you were able to see where the shifts were headed and to adjust your business in that direction. I think alcohol consumption went up 400%. I don't know if you've heard about it, spirits. And so if you look at banks, alcohol, telecoms, food. The kind of profits people are making were almost sustained. We did not see like a drop in profits, except from the industries that I mentioned first, hospitality, travel, and air travel. But most of the others, because of those shifts that happened, still ended up winning. So the most important thing was to keep yourself in a mindset of looking at where have things shifted. In the world of business, we say human needs never go away. Yeah. I think she started with a very good example. People were using donkeys. What were they using donkeys for? Transport. Do we still use transport today? Human needs never disappear. Do we still deal with hunger nowadays? Yes. Do we still deal with healthcare and all these sorts of things? So the needs are always there. It's just how people consume them that change. So if you're able to note that the mode of consumption has changed, that people are doing meetings online, people are doing team buildings online, people were doing, conferences online. We hosted a conference online for 500 people. It was very well attended. So the need was still there. It's just how people were consuming it that has changed. And because COVID introduced new behaviors, some of those behaviors are likely to stay going forward. Others will revert back because also the need for social interaction has become very apparent. And so you can see we are all here for this meeting. I think last week I was in 3 different conferences. So I told people that we are revenging for the lack of social interaction before Christmas comes and we close down again. So those needs are always there. And whichever industry we are in, if we are able to adjust how we see that the mode of consumption has changed, you're likely to still remain in business, and some people are even making record profits at this point in time. Yeah.
Thank you. So thank you so much, Joram. I was in that conference. Thank you, Joram, for always holding my hand. I was a speaker there. Where? Tulikuwa huko international. Anyway, so over to you, Fuyanzi. You have worked in America and in Kenya now. So far, what are some of the shifts that you've seen from a global point of view? And what are some of the practices you would recommend for adoption by businesses and individuals during the shifts?
Well, it's funny that you ask that, because as much as you think things are different, they're just the same. So what I mean by that is, and it's more than working in America, right? I lived in America for 40 plus years because I was born there. But so seeing that there was a theme that I saw throughout coming here and moving here during the lockdown, during the pandemic, I moved here. And I see that more than ever, and as a coach, I'm in this space, but more than ever, with people being isolated, with people having to really be by themselves and not interact as they used to, I have seen a search for purpose. I have seen people begin to question, what are they doing? Is it this thing that they should be doing? And a lot of questioning. And for me, and I think all of us should look at this, where there is questioning, there is opportunity. And if there's opportunity there, then we say, okay, now what's the opportunity? What can we begin to do now in terms of the shift, right? Because something has shifted in the energy. Of course, we know practically what things have changed, but even if you think about who you were last year, let's say in February, and your behaviors and your habits, when you look at yourself today, I dare to say that many of you have said some things have changed, whether it was by default or by design. So what can you begin to do? Well, the example that came up for me is when I open up my laptop, every once in a while, there's a little message that appears in the corner. And it says that there are updates waiting. Am I ready to do it now? So that means the operating system, even if it was just the night before, has changed, and that something within that system needs to change. So what? So that my laptop can run efficiently, so that whatever it is with the storage, whatever it is that is happening can begin to happen by that change. So even when we think about practically, The system now, the operating system has changed. My question to all of you, be it employer, employee, business owner, is have you updated your operating system for it to align with the times that we are now living in? For those people who said, oh, and you don't know how many times I've heard this, I'm sure maybe some of you have said it. When COVID is over, I'm going to. Newsflash, there's a new variant. Are you still waiting? So the thing is beginning to look, and the question that I ask, and if you've ever heard me speak, I will speak it like a broken record. For you to first ask, who am I? Now, I'm very much a woo-woo person, but look at the work behind the woo-woo. When you begin to ask yourself, who am I? And that's also in terms of asking yourself, what business is this that I have? What employment is this that I am in? You begin to go deep inside, right? So when I've asked the question, who am I? Sometimes people say, you know, I'm a PhD, I'm this, I have this certification, I have that. No. That's not who you are. Who are you? And even those of you, when you begin to think about your business, what is your business? Who is, like, if your business is an entity, but I want you to think of it as a who for a moment. Who is your business? What does it say? What is it aligned to? What is the messaging? And then even begin to go back to your mission statement, your vision statement. Has it been the same, stale and crusty now, and with a bunch of dust on it, and you haven't really gone back to it to say, you know, are we following this mission? Is this mission still ours? I knew a couple of coaches who said, oh, to go from being live to being on Zoom, oh, I didn't want to do it. Really? So then you don't want business. So then you don't want to make money. So my thing is go back to the basics. Your vision statement, mission statement. Those of you who have businesses, are you okay with the same quote that's there for a long time, or is it time to shift because of the times shifting, right? Mooney, when you were talking and you talked about now building the smart homes, I was thinking people may say, oh, building is building, right? But no, you have to look at the times and think about what is happening and to adjust with that. Then begin to think about, am I aligned with the vision of this company? Am I aligned to what it is saying? Am I aligned to, is this business even aligned to the way the world looks? Because I dare say that for some of you, have you even gone back to that? You start off with the root. You start off with the root and see what it is, and then you can begin to change that which blooms from that. And so I ask you that question, who are you? When you're thinking, as I think about the shifts, that's the way to think of it. Who am I? Am I aligning with everything that is there? And Jane, you had asked before about if anyone had a donkey. And I was going to say in a past life, there was an ass in my house. Thank you. I'm sorry, this person not allowed.
Oh, Fuyanzi. By the way, Fuyanzi, I love your logo. I love your logo. I'm so sad you're changing it, but I love that logo. Her logo has a bird that's actually eating nectar on a flower. You know, it's very beautiful. You'll see it. I think the tech team will actually put it up at some point for all of them. Yeah, I know. She's changing it, imagine, and I love it. So, right, we are about to come to you guys so that you can ask the panelists some questions. But before we do that, I know our panelists are quite passionate about businesses, and we are going into an election year. And I'm going to allow anyone, any of the panelists who wants to comment on this. We are going into an election period, and we all know how the business environment gets affected in this country. What can small business owners do to survive? And I can tell you for a fact, 80% of the people represented here run businesses. So I don't know who wants to go first. You have, oh yeah, you have the mic.
Okay,
Fine.
so yeah, I have a mic. And this is something I'm very passionate about because I've run my business. This will be my fourth election to go through as a business person. And I keep asking, if we look back, did the wait and see help? Did it help our businesses when we sat and waited to see whether, the person we thought was going to become president becomes president? Did it help the strategy of your business? Did the wait and see help? No, it does not. And so I'm like, as we go into this election, don't wait and see. Be active, be looking for opportunities. Kenya is not the only country in the world that you can do business. I think there's a lot of people doing online business right now where you're able to tap into customers all the way from Australia and China to Brazil and the US. But if we go into the election with this mentality that business slows down during election and all sorts of things, I think when you focus your mind on seeing the lack of opportunities, then that's exactly what you're going to get. But if you walk into next year thinking there's plenty of opportunities in this world and I'm going to tap into them and find them, then you will find opportunities, whether it's within Kenya, whether it's outside of Kenya, whether, the opportunities are always there. The world doesn't come to a standstill simply because we are electing, some presidents. So I would advise, don't get caught up in the wait and see attitude. Don't get caught up in, paralyzing yourself and stopping to do everything. Take this opportunity to look for new opportunities, develop new products like we did during COVID, look into new opportunities during that time, and you should be able to go into the election well. I'll give a personal example. So after, suffering in 2012, I told myself I was never going to be in a position where I'll suffer again in an election. So I put a reminder on my phone for 2.5 years to the next election, which was 2017. And the reminder said, think about the next election, it's coming, strategize to make sure that you don't suffer. So when the thing popped up on my phone, I got my team together and I'm like, we have 2.5 years to the next election. What are we going to do to be able to survive? And we started to brainstorm and we are like, look, there's certain industries that don't slow down. NGOs that have funding continue to run during election. So we said, let's target and see if we can get some clients who are NGOs. NGOs that do civic work, democracy work, and all sorts of things don't stop during. In fact, their funding is highest during the election period. So we're like, can we get some long-term contracts? And I think we got certain 2-year contracts signed just before the election year. So throughout the election year, we had NGOs paying us to do work, and business did not come to a standstill. Which other sector did we look at? We also looked at the fact that, some candidates might be looking for some strategy work. Just make sure they pay you cash. Yeah. Don't access any credit from them. And so 2017 was basically one of our highest grossing years, despite the fact that we had 2 back-to-back elections. And so it is possible to tap and see opportunities that are coming. So I was just going to say, there are some people who are affected by change. There are those who react to change, but there are those who make change happen. Don't be in the last 2 categories.
Okay, thank you. I think the question we must ask ourselves is, why do we have elections? Why do we have them once every 5 years? Why do we limit the term of the person who becomes head of state?
Change is constant.
And then, why do we vote?
We are not voting. Engineer, we are not voting.
But let me put it this way. There is actually a lot at stake during an election. Your well-being, your future is at very high stake. I know we wake up in the morning to vote for. How many of us ever even know the MCA, leave alone the MP? So we just put maybe what we are told is to vote using what? A suit, isn't it? So you look for the symbol. The name is not important. I think what has happened is that we have completely removed ourselves and resigned our fate to the political class. Whoever comes in, bahati mzuri, life just continues. Some of us take it upon ourselves to read those manifestos. What do you really stand for? And also try and engage these candidates. Granted that some of the things that are written in the manifesto, in fact, maybe many of them, do not ever come into being. But how else can you hold somebody accountable if you don't know what they stand for? You know, there was all this discussion about BBI and all those things. How many of you gave input, just in case the reggae continued? You give input whether reggae will continue or not. Because if you don't, and the reggae continues, then you shall have to sing the song of, or dance to what? To reggae. So these few months that we have ahead of us, political parties are going to come. There will be defections, realignments, misalignments, call it whatever you like. But you see, that document is key because then how does it fit into Vision 2030? How many of you have ever read Vision 2030? And participated in the fact that the execution of Vision 2030 is in 5-year tranches that are called midterm plans. And right now we're on midterm plan 3, which ends in 2022. There will be another midterm where the government tells you, what are you interested in doing along that journey of making these what? A middle class? Something like that. So some of us have taken time and said, no, let's read. And let's go and engage them. And I'll tell you this. The government is not, they are not all experts. They're just Kenyans like you. And if you don't tell them, they will certainly put something, most of which you may dislike. So when we look at this election, I said to myself, I think it is important to look for an opportunity or a vehicle to share what your aspirations are, so that they can feed into the manifestos of these different political parties, and then see, are they creating an enabling business environment? The third president of this country came in with one agenda, which was basically mainly infrastructure. And infrastructure spurs the economy in a great way. And even in America today, Biden has a big budget for infrastructure. So how do we fit into that space? So we as businessmen and women should be getting to know what is the agenda of the incoming government most likely to be, and how can we align with it? How can we identify opportunities for it, etc. And then after the government comes into power, look at what legislation is going on. How do we hold the government accountable? You know, the idea of an intelligent person on TV saying, naomba, nani? Serikali. That means we are not part of the solution. We want to throw everything to who? To government. Some of us, by virtue of the organizations that we're in, when COVID came, there was a rallying call of how do you make businesses survive. And one of the things was to look at taxation, allowing people to suffer less in terms of taxation, etc. Now, if you don't go and ask for it, can it be given to you? So me, the way I look at it is that the election is coming. What lies ahead after that? And then, do we hold the political class and government accountable? Because if we don't, then what we're going to be doing is always having to adapt and change, etc. Some of the statistics, without taking it too far, are showing us some of the neighboring countries are actually doing well. And probably better than we have thought before. And they have gotten their act right in certain ways. So me, what I would say is that whereas the political cycle, by the way, Joram, the perception is that there's less business. It's probably because of the big investors. They say they hold back because they don't know what's going to happen. And in 2007, we showed that we are capable of redefining who our neighbor is and how we relate to our neighbor, much as you have lived with them for a long time, which was a sad case. I think we're in a good place right now to understand what is likely to happen, to position ourselves, to influence what happens after that. And remember, government is not the individual at the top. It's actually a big machinery. And that machinery, you can engage in that machinery in different ways. And in so doing, get to understand it. Because if you don't understand it, then you have a problem. Get to understand it and then see how do you help it to align with its objectives. I could talk about this for a very long time,
Yeah.
but I'll tell Grace to invite me another day. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know whether the ladies have an input on the politics upcoming. Yeah, Fuyanzi has something to say.
This is going to be brief because this will be my first time living here during an election season. But I want to ask you this, and everyone listen to me really carefully because at first it's going to sound like it's not related, and I'm going to bring it home. Number one, raise your hand if you've done something like this. You've woken up in the morning, you stubbed your toe on the side of the bed, and you're like, this is going to be a bad day. And indeed, it was a bad day. Anyone, okay, one person, two people are willing to admit this. Okay, fine. Let's try this. You're talking to a friend, you're talking about, let's say, a song or a movie. And you're like, what's the name of that movie? What's the name? The next day happens, let's say a day or two later, all of a sudden, that song or that movie pops in your head. That ever happened? Yeah. Okay, great. More heads nodded. Folks, let me tell you something about your brains, about your minds. Your mind is the command center about what that has to do with everything that happens around you. Since I've been in this country, whenever my new friends, my new Kenyan friends say something about elections, there is a shift and a move and everyone goes like this at the table. And there is a collective around the table. Did anyone experience that when you start talking about elections? In fact, some of you began to shift a little bit when the question was asked. So therefore, Joram said something, and I really hope you were listening, because it is about changing the narrative of what your perspective is when the elections come. Indeed, just like when you stubbed your toe and you said today will be a bad day, you commanded your brain to look for everything bad that would happen that day. It wasn't in the absence of good things happening, but you had commanded, the command center was told to look for everything bad that day. Are you with me right now? When you could not think about that movie or about that actor or whoever it was, and 2 days later, see what happened was when you said, I can't remember that, what is the name? You actually made a command to find that. And regardless of whether or not you were conscious of it, it did that very thing and looked for that information. So I challenge you today that when the elections are coming, you know that they're coming, to begin to speak to the command center and tell it what to do. If it's going to be opportunity, then how do I find opportunity amidst the chaos that may be happening? Guess what's going to happen? Your brain, your mind is going to start looking for opportunity. How do I stay positive amidst these elections? Guess what? You've made a command. Folks, you are all very powerful. Someone look at your neighbor and say, you are powerful. Do that right now. Tell them you are powerful. But you don't even know, you don't even realize the power that is within you. So I challenge you, put a reminder in the phone that they are coming. And what are you to do? Are you going to sit there and start shifting? And I dare you now, from now on, to stop shifting when people say elections. I dare you to say to yourself, I'm going to change my body language. That when someone says elections, you say, oh, where? When? Because I got this. Change the narrative. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to bring a different perspective to this, and I'll speak to the employers then to those of us who are employees. And what I've observed as a HR in organizations, the year of elections brings so much hatred in organizations. And that hatred lives beyond the election year. I can tell you in 2012, the whole of 2013 we were trying to heal in the office. The team that you have taken so long to build starts hating each other, and as long as they're not working together, your business goes down. So if you're the business leader here, if you're the business owner, start looking at that and start talking to people, start changing their mindset to know that, guess what? We feed from this business. The politics is something different, but we have to take care of our business as a team. And you have always hired them and worked with them without knowing which side of politics they'll support. But the moment you allow that divisive politics to get into your organization, the healing process will take 4 years. And before you heal, we are again in the next cycle. And that's how your business collapses. And let me tell you, I've experienced this in big organizations, not even SMEs, big organizations. And it's a big, big, big problem. So if you're a business owner, just start doing it now. Start preaching the fact that you cannot afford to have divisive politics. It's okay for me to belong to whichever party that I belong to, but when I come to work, I am first an employee, first a team member, and I'm not fighting for any MCA role. I'm not fighting for an MP role, and therefore I have no business fighting you, who is also not vying for anything. And it is part of civic education that we have to do as employers in the organization. Unfortunately, even the business owners, the CEOs, the MDs, take positions. I remember one time, I think this was 2012, I keep forgetting. One of our CEOs saying, I think Jim Nambaro was vying. So we had been told not to take sides in the organization. But when he lost, he said, I am so sad my candidate lost. And that was the beginning of politics in that organization. And it was so bad. It was so bad. Every day people were cutting each other, undercutting, and the root source was the politics. So as we say we are running away from politics, let us just know that the key guys we are living with may not be seeing the things the way we are seeing. The guys who are redefining the neighbors are redefining neighbors in the office. Is that okay? And they're also redefining you as a CEO. And for the employees, for those of us who are employed, anytime that you feel you are taking politics so seriously to the extent of fighting the person that you have been working with and insulting, you are idiot number one. Forgive my language. But that is the truth. So every time you find that you're insulting people online, if you just go and search you online, we see the kind of things that you posted in 2017. And we wonder, is this the person that we have been calling our leader? And remember, the internet never forgets. And even if it is not the internet, if you tell me something that was that nasty just because I was supporting someone you didn't support, it will never leave me. And the next time that you'll be vying for something that is not political, I'll tell guys, no, he's faking. Yeah. So as we go into this, let us just know that we are first humans before we start doing all those things that do the politics. We have seen so much, and I don't see anybody in this room who should actually go that route of saying, because I am, let me use my tribe party, because I am Wiper, I cannot talk to, I don't know which other party, Jubilee. I cannot.
ODM.
I cannot do Jubilee or ODM, you know? If you're not vying, and even if you're vying, please just fight with the opponent. You have no business fighting people in the office. And as the leader, you have no business allowing politics to drive. And there's no space in silencing that conversation. If you silence it, you are the only person who is going to be excluded from that conversation. So talk about it in the office. When you go for your office meetings, make it an agenda. We are going to an election year. How are we being affected by these politics? If you keep saying, let us not talk politics in the office, you are the only one who is not in that conversation. You are going to be excluded. So we put it on the table, talk about it as we do our own empowerment, as the owners of the business, as the employees. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jane. I told you the speakers are very passionate about these things. Please, if you're answering a questions, nawaomba nyinyi wote. I know I picked you because you speak very well. Oh, sorry. I'll translate. So if you get the mic, kindly make it short because we want to eat. We want to take a few questions from the audience to the speakers. Maureen is going to move the mic around. As Kevin will move for the speakers. Anyone who has a question for the panelists? Yeah, Maureen, there's a question at the back. The lovely lady.
Hello, good
Hi.
evening. My name is Wamboy, and probably as a representation of the millennial to Generation X represented here, my question is, we've learned about new ways of working and the shift to online. So do you find that the organizations may call themselves adaptable on paper or theoretically? I say this because, as Coach Fuyanzi was saying about the operating system change, you find that the organizations have changed, but the people haven't. So the organizations are shifting, but the organism is rigid. So my question is, why is it that there are a lot of labels, for example, on millennials, who are breaking free from the traditional norms of employment. I'll quantify this for you, for example, where I, as a millennial, now when we shifted to working online, I could work 3 jobs. But now that we're back to physical, location, probably I'd had to give up the 2 and work 1. Or if I came to you for an interview and I'm like, yes, I'm able to work for you and deliver whatever you want for me to deliver, but I am also working somewhere else and I'll meet your target, I'll meet your every objective that you'd love for me to meet. So basically, my question would be, if we are to discuss adaptability in these terms, um, are the organizations really welcoming to us as millennials who are coming to tell you that I want to work, but I'll work for you for a certain of hours? So will we discuss payment in terms of hours? Another question is, even to a more personal level, what are the organizations that you all represent that are doing to embrace such shift and change? Thank you.
Is this to a particular speaker or to all of them?
Anyone
who wants to take that?
I can start. I can start with it. First of all, I'll be a bit different because I'll tell you, as much as we talk about millennials, we are managing, I don't know how many generations, and therefore I have a problem managing millennials only. When you come to the workspace, you are coming to in a place that has rules and directions, and therefore I'll have a problem saying I'm managing millennials when I also have money in the organization. So we have to come and understand that it's what we call an understanding of an organization, and we cannot be having groups. These are millennials, these are their policies, these are the 50 years old, these are their policies. We cannot have that. So there are some things that people are saying along with you as millennials, and I've seen a lot of videos. I think the one that I saw was from Simon Sinek, and was talking about you guys coming with a mentality of entitlement. And that says, when you say you want this, it's about you, and you don't want to consider the other particular person. To a lady about having the 3 jobs, it's about a matter of choice. You choose what you want to do. We have always had the gig economy, and I like using nurses when I give that example. The nurses have always had locums. They have always worked for 5 employers or more, as long as they're able to juggle with that. And the gig economy is coming, and is coming to Kenya too. So about us having the 3 jobs, maybe everybody is not taking it up, but at some point, it will be a way of life. At some point, it will actually be the only way to go. But you have a choice to actually be able to step out and just engage even 5 employers. But if I'm going to give you a job that requires you to maybe do, depending on what is happening, assuming it's a PA role, and maybe you have to be in the office because I can need without giving you notice, are you going to be away at any other job? It will be a no. So there are very many things that come to the things that the decision that people tell you that you can't take this, we can take this. I also agree there's some level of rigidity, but even as you come as millennials, please stop labeling yourselves. Just understand we have all those generations. I don't know how many there are. There could be 4 or 5 different people in the organization, and we have to live with all of you. And we cannot have 5 manuals. This is for the millennials, this is for ABCD, this is for ABCD. And I'm not trying to be rigid. All I'm saying is some things will be acceptable, others will not be acceptable. Let us try fit in. And when you feel you can't fit in ABCD, trust you me, you always have a choice. You always have a choice at any one time.
All right. I am.
There's someone. So I have a quick answer. Part of it is personal. I think I was employed for 3 years before setting up my first company, Wild, and then now Sandbox. And I think when we set up Wild, I was about 26. When I started working there full time, it was a side hustle for 3 years before that. And I remember having challenges with organization cultures that I worked in because I always thought things can be done differently. And so I took the opportunity to then create an organization that could do things differently. And in some areas we succeeded, others we failed, but eventually we ended up building a company with a very different culture. One of the things that when people come to Sandbox, they ask me, where is your office? Because they see some offices and I sit on a hot desk like everybody else, and people get surprised. And I'm like, why do I need an office? I've never felt that I need my own private office for anything. It doesn't serve any purpose for me, but it might do so for other people. And so we've ended up creating a very different, open culture. We dress like this to work every day. I dress like this to work every day possible. We just decided to do things different. So sometimes maybe you're the one to do that different, that will show people that different can happen. At the Sandbox, we merged consultancies in the area of finance with the ones in the areas of marketing. I always used to wonder, why are consulting firms segregated, the marketing ones on this side, and the finance ones, your big four, on the other side? It never made sense to me. And so once we put all of them under the same roof, today I see the big four doing that. They're buying marketing firms, digital firms, and merging them. So sometimes being an outsider is good to revolutionize how an industry works. But that's just a personal experience. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Allow us to take a question from a gentleman in the interest of time and for gender balance. Any gentleman who'd like to ask a question? Any gentleman who has a question? Eh? Boy shout. Eh? Boy shouts are happy. Okay, somebody who want, no, you'll take it for the boy child.
I think the boy child will ask, when are we eating?
All right. If there's no question from a gentleman, I would like to hand it. Oh, yeah, okay. Make it quick. People are hungry.
I just wanted a short comment. What the lady has asked is very important because she has talked about having many jobs. Then she wants to, I believe, charge the unit of measure of performance is hours. I think with technology evolving as it is, whether it's artificial intelligence and those other good things, it is getting to a point where how do you compensate somebody for the work they've done? If you have very sophisticated software that can design a big building within 2 hours, how do you pay this person? And previously we used to charge per hour. So I think there will be answers coming soon, but I'm of the opinion that in the not too distant future, people shall be paid for the value that they will be deemed to have produced. It won't be the number of hours they've worked or whether they work there 30 days a week. I think that is now going to go. The idea of long service awards. In fact, if anybody gives you a long service award, people will run away from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, James. Can we appreciate the panel? And I think you'd have an opportunity to interact with them. So one word, each of you, just one. Please make it one, tafadhali. Just say one sentence. Let me make it a sentence for you guys because I know word will not come out. So one sentence to just sum it up.
You have to constantly be scanning what is happening in your environment. Not necessarily obvious, but you have to constantly be scanning what could be happening. And the good thing in the developing world, so whatever is happening elsewhere, it's on its way here. So you already have a leakage. Start aligning. Do your gap analysis with an employee. If you're an employer, the same. Because most of the time, scan up and see what to do.
Thank you. Sentence has become a paragraph. I know these people. Please forgive them.
I think this is a century for Africa. I think this is a century for Africa to show what we are capable of. There's no way we can sit on resources, but other people make value from them. Wake up, realize what you're seated on, make value of what it is that you're standing on, and basically, this should be the century for us. I don't think the world is ready for what's coming.
Thank you.
Don't be left out.
Thank you.
Hashtag preach. This one's for Africa. No, that's not my sentence. Simply be intentional about everything you do, period.
Thank you. Yes, James.
Election is an opportunity.
Yes.
Be at the steering wheel. Thank you.
Wow. And a comment from the audience for this one. A comment from the audience to close this chapter. I'll pick, eh? You guys know me already. I'll pick somebody to speak. Boy child, Nahashon.
Grace,
Yes.
I wanted us to pick.
Jairus.
Yes.
Okay, fine. He was the first one to get here.
Good evening, everyone. So, my name's Jay Walemba, the CEO JCVs. So it's a pleasure being here, and I've really learned a lot, and I've networked, and I think this has been the best thing to happen this year for me in terms of networking. Tumekuwa tu kila Tuesday tunapatana online, but this moment has been so great. I've had an opportunity to meet the coach, Engineer Mwangi and Joram, and I've really learned a lot and looking forward to learn more from you guys. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Over to you, Noah.
No.
Thank you very much. I'm starting virtual. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you feeling after imbibing all that? You're feeling good? Yes. Yeah, let us stand so that the knowledge can drop from the head and all right, jump a little bit, just a little bit, just slightly. Don't jump too much, you lose it. All right, sawa. So I think that is relaxation enough because I don't want to go the deeper one, yeah, where you have to, all right. Yeah, so at this particular moment, we can just have it quickly before we proceed to the meal because time is really running. It's already 9. 9. Tell your neighbor it's 9. Have you spoken to the person at home just to notify them that I'm coming a little bit late? Yeah? Okay, have you spoken to your parents, millennial?
Where is Wandia?
No,
We're
it's
looking
good.
for
It's
Wandia.
good. Tell them you're walking. I'm also, but I'm quite old. Come to think of it, because Grace, I'm quite old, and as I grow old, I grow wiser. Yeah. If I'm old, these guys are fossils. Oh, no. We can't do that. Yeah. Now, that is zero chills. We can't do that. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, briefly, yeah, at this particular moment. All right. So, that information that hits you, it confuses you. Where was I? But, okay. So, even as she does that, what she's told me, don't you worry. I'd like to welcome briefly, yeah? You guys, do you love the seats you're sitting on? Yeah, it's very comfortable, right? Yeah, so the people who've enabled that comfortable posture, the posture where you take as a queen and as a king that you are. We've spoken about mentality here. Some of you are looking at yourself, am I a king? Am I a queen? Yes, you are. Look at you. So that seat, yeah, where you sit is very important. How you sit, it's even importanter. Okay? So, Zaidi Furniture are the people who have enabled us to be as comfortable as we are. So briefly, in less than a minute, do we have a representative from Zaidi? Zaidi, thank you very much. Pigeni makofi tafadhali. Appreciate her. This is amazing, very comfortable. And in less than a minute, please tell us where we can find this awesome furniture so that we come and support the business or invite you for an event to, let me see to where Grace was seated. The floor is yours.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Is it on? Let me see. So, let us Google how to. Anyway, it's okay. Let me check. Okay. Sanitize again because I've spoken on it. Zaidi. All right. Zaidi, the floor is yours.
My name is Patricia.
It's okay. We can hear you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Patricia, and I run a furniture rental company called Party Lounges.
But party lounges gave birth to, as we are changing, it gave birth to a company called Zaidi Furniture, where we give you more. We optimize your space. We build furniture that like, you know, we make sofa beds. I don't know another sofa bed manufacturer in Kenya. We also make wall beds. We make retractable dining chairs. So as you move into smaller spaces, because that's the only option for you to survive in Kanairo, we have you. Yeah. So please, you could find us on Instagram. Please Google Zaidi Furniture. We promise to give you more. And I'm looking for a brand ambassador to come and do an ad. You remember how Mo used to say Kitanda Enda, Kitanda Rudi? Please, if you can do that for us, we're here.
All right.
Asanteni.
Appreciate her. So all the sleepers in the house, you have an opportunity, business opportunity for the ad right there. At this particular moment, I'd like to let you guys go, but before I do, okay? I'm really challenged. I'll say that later on. Can I have those gifts, please? Thank you very much. I believe everyone is very important. Yeah. So the camera, I don't know whether you'll follow me around. I've just broken your rule, what we agreed on. And I'm going to pick people at random to appreciate our speakers. First of all, any volunteer who would like to, you feel the speaker said something that really touched you. Zaidi. You want more Zaidi? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, but beautiful. So, Zaidi, you can come up front. Any other volunteer? I need 4 people, 2 gentlemen and 2 ladies. There you go. Please, just move to the front. Now I need gentlemen. Nominate. Daniel, you've been nominated. Is he your brother? Okay. No. Daniel, welcome. So, first of all, we'll start with the ladies to appreciate the gentlemen. Engineer, please, you can just come this side for the sake of cameras. Madam, come at this particular moment. So, at this particular moment, for the sake of the camera, you hand over. Then these people will appreciate you. Yeah, they will clap as you hand over that particular gift to engineer, because they have gained something from the talk this evening. Are we ready to appreciate? All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, in 3, 2, 1, let us appreciate engineer, the one and only James Mwangi, for the awesome participation. Okay, thank you very much. Up next, let's have next lady. And wow. So let us put your hands together and help me appreciate Joram Mwinamo, CEO Sandbox, for their awesome input in this networking session. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please. Now, where is Sir? Like you to appreciate our ladies. And starting off is Coach. Coach, what team do you support? What team? Okay. I won't mention that. It's not fair to mention Arsenal as a team for the moment, yeah? So at this particular moment, let us appreciate Coach Fuyanzi for the awesome input. Yes, definitely. And remember, our gifts, as this gentleman has whispered in my ear, they are from Panessa. You can see even the logo. Is it an emblem or logo? It's an imprint, okay? So as you eat, is it a plate? Looks like a plate, yeah? Multi-purpose, where the world is going. Can you create a product that can be used in different formats, as a plate and also as a gift to the next person? So at this particular moment, we have this gentleman to appreciate Miss Jen Mutisia. Let us appreciate her for her input. Wow. Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate that. And as we close up, I'm going to be calling Simon to give closing remarks. But before that, To our panelists, thank you very much. I kindly request you take your seats here before we go eat. So briefly, Jen, you had something brief to say? And we have a microphone for you here. Very briefly, should I time you like in less than 30 seconds so that we proceed?
Okay.
Okay. All right.
So good evening once more.
Good evening.
And have you all been very happy with Atarah Solutions for the year 2021?
Yes.
So how do we say thank you to Grace?
We clap for her and
A
serve her
standing
food.
ovation. A standing ovation for Grace.
Yes.
She has been awesome, 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 awesome. She has educated us, improved our knowledge every Tuesday without fail. If she was going to the gym, she would be having a six-pack. Serious muscles. She has done so well. So Grace, we're going to gift you something.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
Wow.
Yes,
Yeah. For the photo session.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Appreciate Grace
She can
Zula.
unwrap. She can unwrap it so that
Yes.
we all share in the message.
Wow.
So she doesn't think her effort has gone into vain.
Wow.
Thank you, Atarah Solutions, for gracing our 2021.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful.
Yes. It is not from me. Different speakers contributed because
Okay.
they felt she benefited the
Wow.
whole country.
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing.
Thank you very much.
All
Yes.
right. Okay. Thank you very much, Asanteni. Once again, I appreciate the whole team, the panel, and also Grace for the effort that you've put to make sure that today we are here. You can have your seat briefly for closing remarks. I'd like to invite this gentleman. I was networking with him, and he was telling me how important it is to move. Yeah, look for opportunities, especially during this electioneering time. There are opportunities in certain fields, and as businesses, if you look out for those opportunities, I believe that you can make a buck or two in this electioneering period. Sir, closing remarks.
Good evening. How are you? Appreciate yourself. Fantastic. My name is Simon Washira. I sit in the board of Atarah Solutions. I am also a communications and strategy expert. I'm very happy to see a lot of my friends here and every person who is actually here. This is such a privilege for us. Every outstanding achievement in this world was once considered impossible. I'm so proud for what Grace has actually done. Because when we were in the board with Alex and the team, she was actually telling us, hey, I have this idea. And then we were overthinking. And she said, I'm actually going to start. Within a very short time, we are seeing an audience. And I can't believe that now you're actually in a room that is full of people rocking up very beautiful dresses. Honestly, I lack the right superlatives to actually thank you. Appreciate yourself. I may not be very popular today because I am sitting between you and food security. So I'll try and talk very fast. And my work here is to actually appreciate tremendous support received from every corner of this country. There are people who've actually traveled from far and wide to come for this. And we are very, very grateful. So I'm going to start by appreciating a very important partner for us. Let's appreciate Balkan Housing. You guys are totally amazing. You guys are totally amazing. And I hope every person had a chance to actually go to their stand. Intercity. Fantastic. Then we have Panessa, very close to G. Panessa. Zaidi Furniture. We have Sandbox, a good friend of mine. Zalego Academy. Where are you? Zalego. Where is Zalego? Please, Eric, are you actually
Mr.
here?
Eric.
Ah, great. You're actually waving up. This is very important because when G was actually coming up with this, Eric said, okay, unangojea nini? Ndio hii Zoom account. Songa, endelea. Within a very short time. So for the longest time, for a period, before we prayed for G and her pockets got a bit deeper, and she was able to actually buy a Zoom account, bulk announcing actually graciously bought G her Zoom account. So Zalego was graciously sponsoring this. And thank you so much for really holding for us and for the good music that we actually used to enjoy at the end of every at least very consistent followers of this webinar actually know what I'm talking about. Thank you so much for really giving G the kickstart and the impetus to really start this. So we have very wonderful panelists today, and the wealth of wisdom and knowledge that we've actually tapped from you guys is totally amazing. In fact, my brain is kind of full. Now it's a chance for my stomach to be full shortly. And I think I'm in the right company. I presume I'm in the right company. Okay. All right. Let's appreciate also the guests. Please clap for yourself. Because, can you imagine this is a random Tuesday and you guys are here? You're such special people. And because I know, Grace, you're a prayer warrior. I know you'll be praying for these amazing people and they'll prosper in their own spaces, in whatever they do. You can almost hear Grace's heartbeat. Some of us who are very close to her can actually say, because she's very happy that her heart has been pumping with so much excitement. She's so happy because she can't believe that all these people, you know, sometimes when you're talking online, you don't know if you call people, if they'll actually show up. So really, this was a step of faith for a lot of us. Haya, wanakuja. And I'm telling you, my knees have been swollen and aching. My knees have been swollen because I've been praying for this and hoping that you guys are actually going to show up. All right, let's appreciate the media team. You guys are amazing. And the media team is actually known as Boyd Photography. These guys have also rocked up seriously. If you realize there's a gentleman wearing specs there. Very rocked up in beautiful African wear. By the way, today was also really, I'm taking notes on how people are really well dressed, to be very honest. And this is colorful and beautiful, man. This country is beautiful and amazing. If you've dressed well, please appreciate yourself. Let me appreciate the planning committee. The planning committee. Where are you? And I'm actually one of them. Where is the plan? Marina can actually see you. Let's see the planning committee, because every time you take a flight, never forget, apart from the pilots, the ground crew, the cabin crew, every person who makes a successful journey possible. That's a quote that sounds very good when it's coming from me, but it's a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. when he was getting the Nobel Prize for Peace. Okay. Is the committee around? Archimedes said, if I have seen far, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. If you can see Grace shining, is because they are strong giants, actually, where they've been holding her and encouraging her every single Tuesday. Thank you so much, guys. Let me feel important, like a very important, powerful person in this country. You can now be seated. There's also Parklands Sports Club for graciously hosting us. We are very grateful. And then we have, very important, all the past speakers. Do we have any past speaker in this room? I know a lot of you guys. Please raise up your hand if you've ever spoken in that webinar. Please, Kenny kindly, we request you with profound humility. Look at this. Look at, even you. Look, even you. Thank you so much. Again, you can now be seated. You believed in this baby when the baby was crawling. You believed in this baby, and you didn't really mind even the sort of audience we had. The first time, actually, I think we pulled off how many people, and we really felt we had done something until we started pulling hundreds, and now we are pulling actually even thousands. I'm saying this because we are also looking for sponsors in the upcoming season. Okay. Usually forgotten and a very important person in this activity, please, in a very special way, let's appreciate the MC. Noah, please come here. Noah, please come here. Because I also pray, please support this person. He's such an amazing MC, by the way. Because you guys are corporate in your own spaces. These are he's expressed a prayer request and a resolution for next year that he would want to get a big tummy. And that tummy,
That's perfect. It's trying to come. It's just one pack. I think.
My brother, I am pitching for you. Yeah, so please support this amazing young person. I'm actually impressed when I actually see young people doing some great, amazing work. Well done, bro. Well done. We appreciate you.
Simon, you're forgetting one.
And it's only healthy that you actually appreciate me. All right. So as I finish, I have some breaking news item. Two things. One, expect that Get It Right will scale even higher heights next year. The plans that we are actually planning, I'm telling you, the value that we anticipate to give, and we are very confident, not because of our amazing abilities, in fact, we are just mere mortals. It's actually because we have tremendous support. A child in Africa belongs to the community. This is a baby that you've taken and you've actually owned. So we are happy and confident that this baby will grow because the baby has your support. Am I talking the truth? That is one. Number two, Atarah is going to make very strong strides in a lot of spaces, in actually now getting even closer to a lot of you to see how do we get this amazing knowledge that we are sharing, reaching you, knowledge management, reaching you, so that you can actually improve in your spaces. So I'm sort of tempted to really break the news, but I don't want to break the news. Otherwise, Madam G will not be very happy. But I can tell you for sure that there are very good plans for next year. And we are requesting that in your own spaces, please speak us out. Tell people what you're actually doing. Refer people. And I can't really wait to see next year, probably a time like this, us dealing with hundreds of people in a certain big dome tent. Is that possible? With your support. Appreciate yourself. Thank you so much. And then the MC can now make the food security plans and arrangements.
So thank you very
great,
much,
actually.
sir. Oh, sorry.
See how we break news. Now, two very important partners. May I request with profound humility that I get, I need to actually, G, again, I'll pick someone to, or you can actually say who I can pick to do something amazing that we want to surprise two of our important guests. Who do I pick? Yes, to present.
Just random.
Random. Paris.
Paris.
Please come.
And Mary.
Mary, please come.
Oh, wait, I did not do the
Hi, boy child banner.
It's okay. Boy child is like food.
Boy child. Okay.
It's okay.
All right, Paris and Mary. Please come.
Paris.
Hey, ladies today didn't come here to play. Have you seen how people have dressed up for this event? Well done. Okay. May I request with humility that we actually get a very important partner of Get It Right. Sorry. And this is Balcon Housing. Yeah? Njoroge, please come. Njoroge, please come. We have something amazing for you. I need to be sandwiched somewhere for my 15 minutes of fame as well. So please let's appreciate as Balcon receives this very important token for the support that you've actually accorded Atarah and Get It Right. Makofi ya kilo. Well done. Thank you very much. And then for the media and for my 15 minutes of fame as well. Please.
Yes.
Moja. Yes. Okay. Kumbe ulikuja. Nilikuwa nataka hold hapo. Okay. Wonderful. Now you've broken the news before I break. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Please keep supporting Atarah. Please keep supporting Get It Right. You're amazing. We celebrate you. All right. Okay. May I request a very important partner of Atarah, known as Intercity, to please come. And please appreciate Intercity. Intercity, very important partner of Atarah, among the firstborns in terms of sponsorship, who actually came and supported the organization. Media. All right. Please present. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It has been my privilege. Please, thank you. Keep supporting Atarah. Get It Right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Simon. Asante sana. With that said, I see it's 9:25. So, I know actually it's 26. I'm almost dropping, yeah? But what I'm going to do is pray for food, all right? So that we proceed to have a meal. DJ, please, remember, sorry? Okay, lovely. Okay, so I'll keep it short. Let us pray. Thank you, God, for a gift of a meal and the gift of fellowship here to meet and network. And as we take a break, 4 minutes to 9:30, God, help us to, carry this knowledge forward, that it's not limited here, but we impact. Let us have sort of a wave impact on those around us in our organizations, in the spaces that we go back to. But as we enjoy our meal, be glorified. In Jesus' name we do pray and believe. Amen. My name is Noki Kimboya. As you have your meal, DJ, please play local content. God bless you. Nimeamua. Yes, I'm being told the cocktail is alcoholic and non-alcoholic. I'll advise you to take your choice, okay? With that said, please, let us proceed for a meal at the end of the day. But we know the healthy ones, yeah? Yes, that's the beauty about it. So let us proceed. Mr. DJ, you can play some music. Let's have a meal as we interact.
excited. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our meet and greet cocktail. It is such an honor to have you. Thank you for being part of our journey. We are so excited. Make sure that you're networking. Make sure that you come out with a contact for your business, a contact for your career, and just make friends. Today, you make sure you have met one person who you have never met before. Our speakers from season 1 are here. Our speakers in season 2 are also here. Our partners are here. Balcon Housing, Intercity Secure Homes, Super Sleek, Zaidi Furniture, all of them are here. Panesas Kenya Limited, the Career Management Center, Sandbox, among others. So make sure you are interacting with these people. Our audience is also here. Thank you. We are so excited. And please make sure it is worth it. Our learning is taking place as well. Keynote address being done by Mr. Panessa. We have a panel discussion from Coach Fuyanzi, Engineer James Mwangi, Joram Winamo, Jane Mutisia. This is going to be so much fun. Stay alert.